Hey guys, King of Charmanders here, and today I bring to you the best ice attack BARIOTH builds for the Vernal Invader. So this guide provides ice attack builds as of the Vernal Invader update. These ice builds will use BARIOTH as the weapon monster type. So for ice, there are two monster types. You have BARIOTH and Legiana. So this is going to be the BARIOTH one. Thankfully, ice is somewhat flexible thanks to the ability to get ice attack 5 without having to use the head slot. So you can have lock on with a lot of these ice attack builds without having to worry about dropping off effectiveness and damage. One build is the default for a lot of the weapon types, so I won't go over them and just go over what you need for the build. I will also be releasing a video with Legiana builds in the future. First, we're going to start out with the ice weapons monster type comparisons. Interesting enough, BARIOTH does less theoretical total damage than Legiana, because there's only two of them. At least so far, you have BARIOTH and Legiana. The difference between both weapons, the key difference, is that BARIOTH provides 20% positive affinity, so this has the potential to do big numbers if you're actually able to crit. However, the thing is, as you see right here, Legiana still takes the cake as far as overall damage. Just because, at maximum, as you see here, Legiana has more elemental attack and raw attack than BARIOTH does. Having over 100, no wait, not 100, like, well, a little under 200 points over BARIOTH weapons. And the problem with BARIOTH is accessibility. It's only available during winter, events, and hats. So that's the only problem with BARIOTH, is its availability right now. I would say if you're looking at this build list, only go after this if you're almost maxed out at BARIOTH already. If you're close to maxing out BARIOTH and you don't have Legiana all the way up or at a high grade, then don't worry about BARIOTH, go after Legiana. However, if you've already spent all those materials, etc., and you're close to 10.5 BARIOTH, then go after your BARIOTH weapon. Alright, now let's jump right into the builds. For the first weapon type, we have the Sword and Shield, which is the BARIOTH Sword and Shield with the Ice Attack 5 crit build. Here's an important note. This is the default build for a lot of weapon types, so go back to this slide if you want a deep dive reference. So here's a deep reference onto this build, and I'm just going to quickly go over each and every one of the other ones, if it's the same one as this one. So, this build has a practical theoretical damage assessment of 3,487 versus ice weak monsters. Now, you don't have to use the really expensive helm in this slot. You can use Kuluyaku helm instead of Coral Puke helm if you don't have it. So, Coral Puke helmet, you need at grade 8. But you can use the Kula helm like I mentioned. In this one, you will lose a little bit of affinity doing so. However, the build still maxed out ice attack at level 5, which is really great. And thanks to the BARIOTH bonus for affinity, it gives you a 60% crit chance when hitting weak spots. That means plus 25% damage, 125% damage to your attacks if you're able to crit. For this build, you will need the BARIOTH Sword and Shield at grade 8. You don't need at grade 10. We're going to just assume max, but yes, you need at grade 8. You need the Coral Puke helmet at grade 8. The BARIOTH mail at grade 6. BARIOTH fan braces at grade 6. Legiana coil at grade 6. And the Kuluyaku greaves at grade 6. For the next weapon type, we have the Great Sword. The BARIOTH Great Sword to be exact. And this is the Ice Attack 5 crit build, the same as the last one. So go back to the Sword and Shield slide if you need a deep dive reference. To use this build, you need the BARIOTH Great Sword at grade 8, or as high as possible, preferably grade 10, the Coral Puke helmet at grade 8, the BARIOTH mail at grade 6, BARIOTH fan braces at grade 6, Legiana coil at grade 6, and the Kuluyaku greaves at grade 6. On to the next weapon type, we have the Boinking Hammer, and this is the BARIOTH hammer with the same Ice Attack 5 crit build. So again, go to the SNS slide if you need a deep dive on this build. For this build, you need the BARIOTH hammer at grade 8, grade 10 or higher preferable, and the Coral Puke helmet at grade 8, the BARIOTH mail at grade 6, BARIOTH fan braces at grade 6, the Legiana coil at grade 6, and the Kuluyaku greaves at grade 6. However, the hammer does have a second build. For the BARIOTH hammer, we have Ice Attack 5 Slugger 2. This is the second BARIOTH hammer build, and it sacrifices 15% crit to give Slugger level 2. That's the perfect balance of boinking power, and it gives you the ability to stun the monster. With the extra ability to stun and boink things to death, you will be able to possibly do a lot of work against a lot of monsters, while only sacrificing again 15% crit. This build still maxed out Ice Attack level 5, and you still have a 45% crit chance when hitting weak spots. So for those of you that love Slugger, and at level 2 it's a sweet spot, and with the stunning power, you will love this build, and you will love the fact that you could just topple over a monster and then boink away at it to victory. For this build, you need the Barioth Hammer at grade 8, grade 10 or as high as possible, Coral Puke Helm at grade 8, the Barioth Mail at grade 6, Barioth Fan Braces at grade 6, Legiana Coil at grade 6, and the Diablo Greaves at grade 6. On to the next weapon type, we have the Longsword. And for the Barioth Longsword, we have the Ice Attack 5 crit build. Same thing as the Sword and Shield one. If you want a deep dive, go all the way back to that slide. For this build, you will need the Barioth Longsword at grade 8, grade 10 or higher as high as possible, the Coral Puke Helmet at grade 8, the Barioth Mail at grade 6, Barioth Fan Braces at grade 6, Legiana Coil at grade 6, and the Kuluyaku Greaves at grade 6. Moving forward, we're going to pew our way to victory because now we have the next weapon type, which is the Light Bowgun. And for the Barioth Light Bowgun, we have the Burst 2, Reload Speed 3, Recoil Down 3 build. This has a practical theoretical damage assessment of 4,757. The only reason it's this notch I will explain in a bit. If you do not have Rathian Fan Braces, you can use Barioth Fan Braces for Ice Attack 2 with a damage assessment of 4,719, which is only 38 less damage total versus the top build. Rathian Fan Braces will give you Burst 2 for this build, and that's the reason why we have it in here. However, again, if you want ice, all you have to do is switch out to the Barioth Fan Braces to give you that ice attack, and it's not too much of a difference. You can't keep up, or if you don't like burst because you have to keep up that bonus by attacking within 4 seconds, after you proc it, then you can use the Barioth Fan Braces like I mentioned. This maxed out Reload Speed 3 and Recoil Down 3 to do a ridiculous amount of damage. As you see, 4,757 is no easy feat. However, this is only due to Spread and Pierce, which requires you to consistently back in and out of range, so take this into consideration when using the Barioth Light Bowgun. Spread and Pierce is a really weird combination. So you're going to have to dart in, blast it, and then go backwards and then pierce it at the right range to do the maximum amount of damage with the Barioth Light Bowgun. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, in fact it's incredibly powerful, however, you must be really used to using it, otherwise it's not going to be as great. For this build, you need the Barioth Light Bowgun at grade 8, or grade 10 or as high as you can get it, the Coral Puke Helmet at grade 8, the Palumu Mail at grade 6, Rathian Fan Braces at grade 6, Coral Puke Coil at grade 6, and the Azure Rathalos Greaves at grade 6. Moving on, for the next range weapon type, we have the Bow. And this is a Focus 5 crit build for the Barioth Bow, with a practical theoretical damage assessment of 3,626. Now here's a note, if you don't have Pink Rathian Coil, you can use the Legiana Coil for Ice Attack 2 with a damage assessment of 3,617, which is 9 less total versus the top build. So if you don't want to use the subspecies and you just want 9 less damage, that's perfectly fine. You can use, again, the Legiana Coil in place of the Pink Rathian Coil. This build maxed out Focus 5 to get to charge level 4 as fast as possible. With Spread, this requires you to be up close to the monster for maximum damage, so keep that in mind. You're going to have to be up close and personal with a Thunder Wolf electric dragon thingy. Yeah, I got it right this time. See, everyone was trolling me about like, yo, it is not a flying tiger thingy. We're talking about Barioth here. That's why I got the flying tiger reference. But yeah, so yes, you need to be up close and personal with the Thunder Wolf Assault ZINOGRE if you want to do maximum damage. For this build, you need the Barioth Bow at grade 8, or as high as you can at grade 10, the Azarathos Helmet at grade 6, the Rathalos Mail at grade 6, Black Diablos Fan Braces at grade 6, Pink Rathian Coil at grade 6, and the Gyrototus Greaves at grade 6. On to the next, and it's my personal favorite weapon type just because I mained it in the main series games for the longest time. It is the Dual Blades, and this is the Ice Attack 5 crit build for the Barioth Dual Blades. Unfortunately, this is the same one as many others, so if you need a deep dive into this build, go back to the Sword and Shield slide for a reference. For this build, you will need the Barioth Dual Blades at grade 8, or as high as you can, preferably grade 10, 5 out of 5. Coral Puke Helmet at grade 8, the Barioth Mail at grade 6, Barioth Fan Braces at grade 6, Legiana Coil at grade 6, and the Kuluyaku Greaves at grade 6. For the next weapon type, we have the Lance, and this is the BARIOTH Lance with the Ice Attack 5 crit build. Same one as the last one, or go back to the Sword and Shield slide if you want a deep dive. For this build, you will need the BARIOTH Lance at grade 8, or as high as you can, preferably grade 10 or higher. At grade 10, 5 out of 5. The Kopuke helmet at grade 8. The BARIOTH Mail at grade 6. BARIOTH Fan Braces at grade 6. The Legiana Coil at grade 6. And the Kuluyaku Greaves at grade 6. However, we have one more build for the Lance weapon type, and this is the Ice Attack 5 Offensive Guard 1 build. It's the second build for the BARIOTH Lance. This has a practical theoretical damage assessment of 3,616 versus Ice Weak monsters. This uses Offensive Guard 1 to give an extra boost with guard points. So if you counter guard a lot, or you like using, not counter, power guard a lot, and you like using power guard, then you can use this weapon's power guard and give you a little boost with Offensive Guard 1. It still maxes out Ice Attack at level 5, and you get a 45% crit chance when hitting weak spots. So, if you want to use this build with the Lance and you like Offensive Guard, you need the BARIOTH Lance at grade 8, grade 10 preferred or as high as you can, the Kopuke helmet at grade 8, the BARIOTH Mail at grade 6, BARIOTH Fan Braces at grade 6, Legiana Coil at grade 6, and the Black Diablos Greaves at grade 6. And finally, we reached the final weapon type, which is the Charge Blade with an Ice Attack 5 crit build for the BARIOTH Charge Blade. You guessed it, this is the same as the other one, so if you want a deep dive, go to the Sword and Shield slide. But if you want to use this build, you need the BARIOTH Charge Blade at grade 8, preferably at grade 10 or higher, or as high as you can get it. The Kopuke helmet at grade 8, the BARIOTH Mail at grade 6, BARIOTH Fan Braces at grade 6, the Legiana Coil at grade 6, and the Kuluyaku Greaves at grade 6. But we're not done yet because the Charge Blade has one more build. For the BARIOTH Charge Blade, we have the Ice Attack 5 Offensive Guard 1 build. This is the same one as the Lance, and has a practical theoretical damage assessment of 3,624 versus Ice Weak monsters. This build uses Offensive Guard 1 to give extra boost with guard points. So if you're good at guard pointing, then you can use this Charge Blade, and it will max out Ice Attack at level 5. This build will also give you a 45% chance to crit when you're hitting weak spots, thanks to the BARIOTH Charge Blade giving you that 20% extra affinity. However, in order to have that affinity, you need the BARIOTH Charge Blade at grade 10. Or as high as you possibly get it. Again, it has to be past grade 10 in order to get that boost. As for the rest of the pieces, you need the Kopuke helmet at grade 8, the BARIOTH Mail at grade 6, BARIOTH Fan Braces at grade 6, Legiana Coil at grade 6, and the Black Diablos Greaves at grade 6. Hopefully these BARIOTH weapon type builds help you prepare for the upcoming ZINOGRE field event. If you don't have the BARIOTH weapons already near maxed, it's worth it to just go after Legiana weapons instead. So BARIOTH weapons are going to be really hard to max if you didn't hunt them out when they were here in winter or for the events way back. I wouldn't say way back when, but back then. But, like I mentioned, Legiana is still a viable source, and actually it's stronger per the data and without relying on critting via that weapon comparison you saw earlier in the video. So if you don't have BARIOTH weapons, or if you're already working towards Legiana, just work towards Legiana. That being said, that guide is coming soon for the Legiana Ice Attack builds. So that's coming soon for all weapon types. So just look out for that one. With that being said, please do me a huge favor. Like, subscribe, and comment for the YouTube algorithm. I hope y'all are excited to hunt a bunch of Lareth in hats. Don't worry about taking them out if you're a low level. Because they're going to be in hats, you're going to be able to take them out with a group. So don't worry about it. If you see me in the lobby, I will roast the Barriott for you. You don't have to worry about it. Good luck on your grinds again, and I will see y'all on the next video.